Hello, I'm Bob Ryan. Welcome. It's Wednesday, October 1st, and here we go with this week's Buzz, which is coming and going. In our life, there's always coming and going with our homes, our friends, our jobs, etc., etc., etc. It's also true in the sports world. So let's start with our very first topic. Unbeaten college football teams vary in skill levels. Some of the same teams are coming and going into the unbeaten ranks from week to week. As I write this, after week 5 of NCAA play, there are 20 unbeaten teams. And here they are in alphabetical order: Georgia Tech, Houston, Indiana, Iowa State, Louisville, Maryland, Memphis, Miami, University of Missouri, Navy, North Texas, Ohio State, Ole Miss, which is Mississippi, Oklahoma, Oregon, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, UCF, it's University of Central Florida, USC, University of Southern California, and Vanderbilt. Now, I must admit that some schools have played completely cream puff schedules so far. Most will begin, if they haven't already, their league games this weekend, which will generally take them to the end of the season. Almost always, that raises them to a higher level of competition. Some of the ranked teams do merit our attention. First of all, how about Vanderbilt? This school's been to just 10 bowl games since they started playing football in 1902. Competing in the Southeastern Conference, where football reigns supreme, and most of the states don't have professional football, college football garnishes all the interest. Vandy always seemed to be on the outside as the teams are going to bowl after bowl each year. Head coach Clark Lee took over the reins in 2021. He's already built the program. Take a look at their year-to-year record since then. 2021, he came in, they were 2-10. They improved slightly in 22 to 2022. They had a hiccup in 2023 and went 2-10 again. Last year, they broke 500 for the first time in many years as they went 7-6. And now, this year in 2025, they're 5-0. Those records speak for themselves. They do have the grueling SEC conference games still on the horizon, but let's give the school and Coach Lee some credit. They're coming into recognition in one of the two toughest conferences in the USA. Those two tough conferences are the SEC and the Big Ten. Funny story about the beginning of Vanderbilt University. Cornelius Vanderbilt quit school at age 11 to enter the work world. At age 16, he began operating a ferry system between Manhattan and Staten Island. Then he worked his ways into building and developing the new and upcoming railroad system. He made millions in the steamboat business and then made millions more in the railroad business. He became a multimillionaire. He was very generous in his philanthropy, especially in education. His wife really did support education. He preferred people going to work instead of going to education, but he supported her thoughts. Eventually, he promised her a college. Yep, you guessed it. Vanderbilt University was established. It's been a very, very highly regarded academic school since its opening. But I digress. Vanderbilt 2025 also has a very good football team. In college football, many hopes were going away for some of the favorites, while the underdog winners sensed hopes of big bills coming their way. For example, number 5 Georgia lost a home game to number 17 Alabama 24-21. By its win, Bama snapped a 33 home game winning streak of the Bulldogs. Bama quarterback Ty Simpson's 3-touchdown performance led the way for the Crimson Tide. Number 10 Bama will face number 19 Mizzou on October 11th in their next games. Despite the results, both teams, Georgia and Alabama, will be going to a bowl game in postseason. But it does make it very difficult to see Georgia going to a national championship a game reality. Our next chapter, in another SEC upset, number 4 ranked Louisiana State fell to number 13 ranked University of Mississippi 24-19. It's only the third time that Ole Miss has held a 5-0 record since 1978. It was Mississippi's defense that won the game. They held LSU to 255 yards of offense for the game. That might sound like a lot, but it's really only 63 yards a quarter. Mississippi is now on solid ground to be going to its 6th straight year of a bowl game. Next chapter. Last week, it appeared that Florida State appeared to have been looking forward to the opponent of the game the following week versus number 2 Miami. But this week, University of Virginia had other ideas. Florida State didn't see it coming. It wasn't like Florida State didn't perform well. They led in every major statistical category, but lost the game. Virginia forced the game into a 2-overtime game and then came away with a 46-38 victory despite falling short in every major statistical category. Our next topic. Missouri's walkover against UMass doesn't provide much fodder to write about or talk about. I watched about 15 minutes of the game. It's very evident Mizzou had much better athlete, much better skills. I actually began to think that MU was just coming in this game and were just using it as a practice. They were running very fundamental plays and routine pass patterns. Not any new plays, new wrinkles, any of the sort to help them in wins against other opponents. Many Mizzou subs seem to get extensive playing time. If the goal is to win the SEC, I wish the Tigers brass would be willing to go to higher quality non-conference opponents. Maybe even going into a home-and-home series with a ranked team. How about Illinois or Iowa in a home-and-home? I think that'd be a good idea. If you have to decide where you really want to go, is it a 10 and 12 wins a year with 3 or 4 cupcakes wins each year, or to reach the NCAA playoffs due to a very strong won and loss record, maybe with a loss, including wins over high-quality non-league opponents? Our next chapter. Cardinals had players coming and going most of the year. The clear emphasis in 2025 was the development of players and evaluation. Clearly, the best hitter on the team, from my view, was Alec Burleson. He led the team in several batting categories, not counting anybody that didn't have 100 at-bats. He led them in batting average, RBIs, slugging percentage, on-base percentage, and total bases. Burleson played first base and left field, and he was adequate at both positions, and he improved each week. But I think he's nailed down the first base spot for himself. He's never going to be a Gold Glover, but he was adjusting and improving throughout the year. He was the Cardinals' most valuable player in my mind. Sure, Sonny Gray was good, by far the best pitcher on the team, but he pitches only once every 5 days. Moving to the next chapter. By the way, what does it say that Sonny Gray and Nolan Arenado have both indicated that they want to be going from the Cardinals? If the Cardinals don't replace them with quality veteran performers, which I think is highly unlikely under the incoming president of baseball, Shane Bloom, the Cardinals will be in for another painful season or seasons. In Bloom's approach, bringing in veteran, higher-priced players doesn't fit into his game plan. Don't be totally surprised to see these other Cardinal vets going away this offseason. Lars Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan, and maybe even Wilson Contreras. Our next topic starts with Bloom is coming in with more fanfare than I expected. He's a numbers cruncher. He attended Yale University, so he's likely very intelligent with a strong tendency to rely on numbers. But he has no experience as a professional baseball player. During his time at Boston as general manager, he had very mediocre results. But in this fresh start, can he get the Cardinals program going again, like challenging for a division championship, without spending big money? I certainly hope so. However, I doubt it. It takes big money players to win games. Continuing in the next chapter. Bloom has been the general manager at Boston. During his tenure, the Red Sox held a mediocre 267 wins, 262 losses record. Despite that record, fans seemed to be very excited in St. Louis about his arrival. Maybe they didn't mourn his departure in Boston. He's not a sure thing. At least other teams didn't see it that way. Bloom has applied for several other Major League GM positions since his dismissal from Boston. In 2015, Bloom interviewed for the general manager spot with the Phillies and the Brewers. In 2016, it was the Twins he applied for. 2018, it was the Giants and Mets. Now, Bloom was the finalist for the Mets position, but didn't get the job. Finally, in 2019, he interviewed with the Red Sox and was named head of baseball operations position. That's not the general manager. That's more in dealing about the development of players. Our next chapter. I think many fans are overlooking the long run of rock-solid winning years under John Mozeliak. He fielded winning, often championship-level teams. His only two sub-500 teams were in 2023 and 2025. Seems to me that he couldn't win lately because the ownership of the DeWitts locked up their pocketbooks. And no matter who's the GM, winning won't return to St. Louis unless money, big money, is spent on at least 3 to 5 star players. That's what you need to compete. Next topic. Usually, the catcher position is a stable 2-man roster with one being the clear starter. But that position saw lots of coming and going in 2025 for the Cardinals. Cardinals had 4 different catchers and a converted catcher playing first base. This vital position requires a strong defensive catcher who can throw, frame, and call pitches. He requires a day off once every 7 to 10 days in modern-day baseball. As I see it, this spot is completely unsettled for the Cardinals at this moment. Current word is that Ivan Herrera is going back behind the plate like he did a couple years ago. But let's look at his history behind the plate. In 2024, he actually threw out only 4 of 59 attempts. In 2025, it was even worse. He did not throw out even one runner in 15 attempts. Wow. Clearly, the Cardinals want and actually need his bat in the lineup. But they already have another faulty defensive catcher playing first base. Where's Tim McCarver when you need him? By the way, are we getting blinded by the great season of Wilson Contreras? That greats in quotes there. In 2025, Contreras' batting marks, his average was 257. He had 80 RBIs, which is good. 20 home runs, good. But he hit into 15 double plays, the most on the team. And those are acceptable. Maybe not superstar acceptable, but acceptable numbers. Especially for a first baseman where you expect your best hitters to play. Next chapter. Attitudes have sure changed about coming and going in and out of the daily Major League lineup. Major League Baseball had a 154-game schedule for 57 years, from 1904 to 1960. Then a 162-game schedule for 6 decades, starting at the American League in 1961 and the National League in 1962. During that time, look at catcher Yogi Berra. Of course, we all know he's from St. Louis from the Hill. In Yogi's prime, he played literally every day as a catcher. Take a look. In 1950, he played 141 games. 1951, 155 games the entire season. 52, 152 games. In 1953, Yogi played 149 games. In 1954, it was 150 games he played. Yogi Berra played in 151 games in 55 and 56, 151 games. In 57, 151 games. Get the idea? 1958, 153 games. And at age 34 and 59, 145 games. So it can be done. These athletes are bigger, stronger, faster. They should be able to do it. St. Louis baseball fans clearly talk with their feet this year. They weren't going to the game. To me, Busch Stadium looked like it was filled with ghosts. I guess since hardly any people were there. Attendance this year, according to the Cardinals, was 2,250,000-ish, 11th of the 15 National League teams. Frankly, it seems to me those were sold tickets. Probably the vast majority were season ticket holders, not the actual number in attendance. So each night it was announced as, quote, paid attendance. From our TV screen, it was clear that the attendance number given was highly inflated. If you counted the actual people in attendance, numbers would have been far different, a fraction of the amounts of paid attendance. Going on, it's depressing to write about our Cardinals. I've been a Cardinal fan my whole life. If they remain in this approach, how long will it be before the DeWitts sell the team? It can't come soon enough for me. Despite my frustration, I don't want the Cardinals going anyplace else. And to wrap it up, it's time for me to get going. Thanks for your watching, and your comments are welcome on my website. I want to keep them coming, so have a very good week. So long for now.